All right, Ian.
Yes.
Heritage Auctions, our favorite video game auction website, who now has they're almost weekly, these WATA auctions, but now they do their monthly ones. They do like their main monthly ones where they do comics and art and video games, where they save their heavy hitters for the video games there. So they just did it was September 10th through 13th. So these include their online proxy bids. So they don't have a guy at the gavel in this one, but it's online. There's a robot voice. I didn't put any proxy bids in this time. I decided not to. I was like, there's nothing really that I'm really enjoying here. But they did their video games here. They did their video games. They did over 200 here this time. And we'll talk about some of the highlights here. We'll get to. But the biggest one that went off first, which I'll probably put as the thumbnail here, was in the biggest quotes possible, the prototype Super Mario Brothers 3. The WATA certified prototype.
Prototype.
Sold for, with the buyer's premium, $31,200. This went for. Do you have it open by now? You got it up in there? Mm-hmm. You logged in? So this was one that I'd seen around before. I don't remember where, but I had. This was in a cannibalized, rest in peace, Kid Icarus cart that was sacrificed to make this prototype Super Mario Bros. 3 NES cartridge here. This is shocking. This is a huge... I think this is by far the largest prototype sale I've seen on an NES game. Obviously, first-party games go for more than third-party ones. Usually, the third-party ones traditionally went for low hundreds. If it was an unreleased game, it can go for 1,000 or a couple of thousand. Then someone buys it and puts out illegal, reproduction. Games. That's happened the past 10 years. We've spoken about that before. They didn't really have the rights. Then you have ones like our pal Rue, you get the Earthbound prototypes. Maybe they go for like 10, 15,000, right. Something like that. So and you keep it in a busted up Jaws box for some reason. Anyway, it was a Dragon Warrior or Jaws. Anyway, it was weird. Anyway, so we've seen big sales before, but they were usually these like strange, sort of obscure things. But what's weird about this is that not just the price, but the fact that you cannot, with a straight face, call this an actual prototype. That's what is so weird about this sale, is that it's built up to be this significant prototype, but this is the final version of a game that was just put on an NES cart. They mocked it up and put it up as a sample, basically. So you stretch the definition of the word prototype to such an extreme degree that it loses all meaning just to sell and hype the product. And I've seen this happen before. It happened on Nintendo Age in the past, and when I called out that you would come at me, my favorite now defunct website, Nintendo Age, when there was the Legend of Zelda, they called it prototype. But it wasn't the prototype. It was a sample cartridge in a gold shell.
Right. What I'm my understanding is that these are like because I think this is kind of how the Sim City was found. But sometimes these cartridges get sent out to Sim City is
journalists,
but yes, they're basically
reviewers.
They're assembled like prototypes. They have the interchangeable ROMs, but it's the final release code.
Sure. You can call them test samples or game samples, I like to call them. They're samples. We mock up a sample. It's a demo sample. Like, this is the product, but we're going to send it out. So because when you think about it, Ian, and when you think about Legend of Zelda, it's like, well, the real prototype would have been on a Japanese, Famicom cart. Like, that's what it would have been. The Legend of Zelda prototype is on a disc. It's not on a cartridge. They developed it on a cartridge, on a disc. So you have to have common sense come into here. So this is a coup to the niche prototype collector realm, because there was a lot of them out there, and there was a few people that cornered the market successfully for years, which they got mad at me for calling that out, because they went and they bought up everyone they could, and they sort of they would set the price basically and what some of these would go for, especially for the ones that were unreleased. They would set the price because they knew, I knew that you can make thousands selling 400 copies of this on Nintendo Age, a homebrew version, so I can charge you $3,000 for it. Like, that's how the game went. But this is something totally different here. So this became mainstream news. There was a websites picked it up. Nintendo Life picked it up as well. And what I would say is that the person that invested in this, I will just say, I think they got taken for a ride, and they probably were not familiar with this market to begin with, or what they were actually buying. I think they were a victim of seeing this and be like, oh my God, this is something, without realizing that the prototype market is so niche and weird and small when it comes to these. You do not have a lot of people to begin with that go for these prototypes, and they do not have the wide stream appeal as other products do and other right. items in game collecting. They just don't. I mean, there isn't enough of them to go around to begin with, but they're obscurities. Like how you hear about, you have collectibles and you have obscurities. You have things that were not mass produced, do not have an inherent appeal to someone because they were not something you had. They're one-offs, literally, in this case, or maybe there's a couple more of these out there. Who knows? These ones that were mocked up. So I think this person took a bath on this purchase, and this will cause more prototypes to come up of this probably caliber, and they're going to go for a lot of money now because someone said, well, Super Mario Bros. 3 is $31,000. This sort of sets the bar, so to speak.
Right. It's crazy.
No other thoughts? Okay.
I know. No.
I just, because they're having other prototypes that come up, but this is a big one here. But there was other weird things that came up for auction as well, Ian. Any other ones stick out to you? You find strange or fascinating, or like, what the hell just happened here?
Just look, as we always talk about, it's interesting right now because some of the genuinely hard to find rarities on the NES,
they're going for a lot lower.
Going for a lot lower than I would think. Turtles 3: The Manhattan Project is not incredibly rare, but it's not easy to come by either, and that went for, I can't believe I'm even saying this at this point, but only went for $6,600. Rated 8.5. That's
still a lot of money to me.
It is. It's a lot of money, but then you look at something like the Super Mario Brothers 2 that went for $21,000, and I mean, I'm not saying that it's not a lot of money, but I'm saying even in this hyper-inflated market, it's funny to me to see the far more common games go for more money than the uncommon games. Yeah,
I'm going to go from most recent sales. I'll just go down. We're going to start with my favorite, Ian, is the Atari games. Because when you look at batshit crazy, you start with the Atari games. I usually click most recent sales, Ian. That's how it filters for me. Good old Spider-Man, sealed. 9.8 A++. Remember, this went for over $9,000 just a few months ago?
Yeah.
Latest one went for $2,040.
And it's a 9.8.
It's a 9.8. This is the highest rating.
So I think that's a very important thing to say. When you look at how the Spider-Mans have sold in the past, they started at like the 9.8 with the 9,000, and they went down. Not all of them were 9.8s. So you could say, and in my head, I was interested in seeing what additional 9.8s would go for, because that's what you shoot for as a collector. You shoot for a 9.8.
If you think it's going to be the highest.
In the world of comics collecting, if you're going for, value and shit like that, the worth of an item, at least that's what I've learned from running. You always go for a 9.8, at the lowest 9.6. Anything lower than that it's
uncivilized.
They say, well,
there's too many of them out there in order for them to matter.
Once you get lower than and like I said, it's really kind of, as Bonnie says, it's really kind of hard 9.8, but some of them will go down 9.6. But after that, you're not really dealing with the collector's market.
It's not an investment grade anymore.
Right.
It's just a common
You're buying it to have it at home because
Yes.
it looks nice. You're not buying it as an investment. So I wanted to see what more 9.8s would go for.
Well,
And here
they-
we go. It's far cheaper.
Yeah, well, the last one, well, 1 month later, it went down to like halfway. It was like less than half. It was like 4,000 and change, and now it just keeps dropping and dropping.
That's what I was wondering though. Was that one also a 9.8?
Yes.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Oh yeah, we've had 9.8 to 9.6. There's been a 9.8 almost every month since
Okay.
then. So now Pat Math, this has plummeted. Like what is that? 70% in value, 75%, if you can say that. So if you're still buying in at this point, why would you be buying in thinking, oh, I got a deal because the other one went for almost $10,000? You're still a sucker though, because there's more out. You're still a sucker. You're less of a sucker, but you're still a sucker.
You're not the floor for this.
You're not the floor.
There's going to be far cheaper ones coming.
You're still the sucker for buying in. So I thought that was interesting. Then you get ones I think that are actually really cool and interesting, like Cookie Monster Munch.
Yeah.
For 9.6 for $550. I just think that's cool. I don't know if it's worth that much in the long run. I just think it's cool that you see something like that. That's kind of be hard to find, a sealed. An ET went for $750. I'm actually surprised I didn't go more with a notoriety. I'm actually kind of shocked.
Me too. That seems like the sort of thing that would go for way more than it should go
for an insane amount of money, because you look at that and be like, well, these people don't know any better. There was other ones that went for a lot. Let's see, $1,000 for a Miss Pac-Man 9.6. Miss Pac-Man, I'm sure there's a lot of those out there. Here we go. We get to NES games now. All right. NES games, our favorite, Bad News Baseball, $480. My 10th anniversary video right there. A lot of complete in box stuff. Your Clue Clue Land complete in box only went for $240. Ian, sorry to break the news to you there. Let's see. I'm trying to get to the Super Mario Brothers ones. A sealed Jeopardy, the Indiana collection, went for 9.8. 9.8 plus sealed. That's like a shipping one. Went for $1,000 for Super Jeopardy. That's kind of shocking. That's just go. Oh, it's a high grade. I'm going for that here. And there's more. You said Super Mario Brothers 2 went for how much?
I thought it went for 20. It went for 10.
Oh, is that all for Super Mario Bros. 2? Super Mario Bros. 3, I think, went for 1,000. I'm trying to bring it up here and find it, how much that went for. Let's see. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, just complete in box. Just complete in box. It says promo copy. Went for $3,100. Just complete in box. A sealed Mega Man 3 went for $8,400. Wow. Your Mappy 9.6 A++ seal went for $1,300. Some justice there. $4,000 for an Ikari Warriors 2? What?
You.
What? That's kind of weird. That went more than in ice hockey, which went for $1,900. It's kind of surprising to see it, something like that. $6,600 for a Final Fantasy 9.4 on the NES. $4,500 for a Double Dribble. Listen, everyone, I love Double Dribble. I love Double Dribble. $4,560 for a sealed Double Dribble. The Rev A.
9.8.
9.4.
Jesus. Yeah. See, that's where it's like, no.
But I'm just saying, like, it's Double Dribble. I love
Yeah.
it, but come on, man, it's Double Dribble.
I don't love Double Dribble. That's a lot.
This one's more interesting to me right here. The Commando went for $2,000. That's a lot harder to find sealed Commando. It's an earlier '86 release.
Sure.
But even to me, I said that's Commando. Come on. California Games went for $1,400. Come on, man, California Games. That one can't be that hard to find sealed California Games. Come on, man. You're killing me here. Bionic Commando $2,200. Some of these are just like dartboard prices. Like they don't make any sense at all to me. Like I'm trying to reason out some of these. Jaws went for $2,600. I wonder if that's the one that was found at the prison. Where I got mine.
Prison copy.
The prison copy. That's the first thing I thought. It's a prison copy, Ian. And there's more, but those are the major ones. Ninja Gaiden $2,400. Pinball $3,600. Rad Racer later released $2,900. $2,400 for a 8.0 Spy Hunter.
So I guess that Turtles did go for money comparatively, and that makes sense because it's what I say with a lot of these. Anything that has like Turtles, Star Wars, comic book character on it of some sort, you're gonna get, I think, more eyes on it from other collectors markets.
$4,300 for a freaking Rampage. Give me a break. Okay, here we go. Here's a Super Mario Bros. 3 one. Here's what I was looking for. The Left Bros $7,800, and then the later release one. This is from the Atwood collection, which we'll get into. Meaning Tim Atwood's copies are now getting thrown in here. Someone bought sounds like some of his stuff. $4,500 for a Super Mario Brothers 3, not even the first edition, if you want to say that. They made, I mean, millions of Super Mario Brothers 3. Millions of them.
Yeah.
I don't know if people realize this when they're bidding on these, that there's other ones that are still sealed around here. It's just bizarre to me to see that. Ninja Turtles 9.0, A+ sealed, $6,600. And then there's some Zelda 2, $3,300, and then there's some wacky Killer Instinct with the Killer Cut CD, 9.8 A++ for $3,300. Now you really get into the path where there's a lot more of these sealed once you get to something like Killer Instinct there. Anyway, and there's some Ninja Turtle ones that were surprising. Fall of the Foot Clan went for $2,600 for Game Boy. The Niv Bible only went for $456. That's one of the hardest to find games. So you see that contrast there.
That was the point I was trying to make that I didn't make with the Ninja Turtles. But yeah, true rarities that would have been exciting to collectors 5 years ago are the ones going for nothing now. Well, comparatively nothing.
And then you get to the absolute insane stuff like not even the original, the Player's Choice Mario 64 for $5,500.
Sealed Animal Crossing 9.6, $2,700, $2,800.
Well, again, once you get to the late 90s, I think you cannot gamble. Well, these people don't care. You cannot gamble on sealed copies anymore once you get to the late 90s, early 2000s. You just can't risk it because at that point, people are saving more stuff. There's a lot more new old stock, in my opinion, that are out there. You just can't. It's just nuts to me that you would gamble that much on a Player's Choice copy.
Yeah.
Where at that point, they probably may mass produce too many at the end, and so that they're laying around. They are. It happened with the Super Nintendo Player's Choice stuff.
Yeah, I mean, when I started working at Luna, we could still get new sealed copies of F-Zero in the store from our distributor. I mean, that's the one that I think that was I think Rue has a case of sealed F-Zero.
Oh, he sold them off. He told me.
Oh, did he?
He sold off into this market. I think some of them, but maybe right before. But he sold the case.
But he did have them at one point. F-Zero Player's Choice was everywhere, and it wasn't for about 10 years, but what happened? People found them and were like, oh, we've got all these fucking copies of F-Zero. We got to sell them off. So then suddenly, 15 years after it was relevant, you've suddenly got a flood of sealed Player's Choice copies of F-Zero again.
Yeah, my Super Star Wars is a sealed Player's Choice.
For 2 years, anyone who wanted a sealed F-Zero could have had one for a reasonable price.
Yeah, so again, if it happens for that, it can happen with the Player's Choice. It can be, some distributor might have it, or some collector might have bought a crate or two of them, just be like, oh, I just want them. The reasoning behind people owning tons of new old stock Atari, you can make the same application to later consoles. It's just on a smaller scale, but you can still make the application. There's no reason not to. It's the same situations that arise. Wow, yeah, I see that right now. The Animal Crossing one, that's insane.
Not Player's Choice, but still, it's Animal Crossing. It came out in
20 years ago, 2002, less than 20 years ago. And then Mario Sunshine, and then it's nuts. This is nuts. God of War going for $3,300 is insane. It's insane. All right. Anything else to add? Or I thought this would tick down a little bit, but it's for the Atari stuff. It seems to be a little bit, but for this other stuff, it's just coming up now. As it's like the first time you see it. Oh, I got to buy it. It's the first time I saw it. I see Animal Crossing. I got to buy it.
Right.
Before you realize, oh, there could be 500 more out there that are sealed.